Joining me are Fox News contributor, Fox Nation host, and AMAC US columnist Tammy Bruce, and the Guy Benson Show host and Fox News contributor Guy Benson. Thank you both for joining us. Tammy, let me start with you. So
Hi.
the government wants to declare a state of emergency
and
expand enormously federal rules and regulations on energy production. Sound like a good idea to you?
It does not, but this, of course, is predicted and predictable. Look, we've got a January 6th committee that keeps talking about the usurpation of the democracy. That's what the states of emergency are. When you have an emergency, it means you can go beyond the nature of the structure. You can go beyond Congress. You can do what you want. You can govern by fiat, effectively. So everything has to be an emergency. Abortion is an emergency. The economy is an emergency. I wish, even then they make things worse based on their fiats. But this is what they want to do. They don't want to deal with the pesky Congress people or a pesky Joe Manchin or, God forbid, West Virginia. Who needs them? They get, they have dirt under their fingernails. This is a different way of governing. And that's the absurdity. It's what the American people see here. So it is also part of a dynamic of fear that we're living in this perpetual emergency state, whether it was COVID or now because it's summer. Everything provides that opportunity for them to do whatever it is they want.
Guy Benson, and it is incoherent, isn't it? I mean, we've got an administration that is committed to essentially winding down fossil fuel production as much as they can, which of course pushes up prices and creates an economic crisis because we don't have enough energy production to replace it. And then they go around the world trying to persuade other countries to increase fossil fuel production.
Right. They're demanding that the oil industry here at home do everything, jump through hoops right now to bring down the cost of fuel and energy here. But they're still saying, don't worry, we're going to put you out of business in a few years. That's still the goal. That's not really how business works. And those types of signals very much are reflected in the actions that industry is willing to take. But yeah, if they want to go hat in hand to Saudi or Venezuela, they're going to do that because of their urgent political problem that they have. And what strikes me this week is kind of interesting. The White House always has to make decisions, choices about where to send a president and why, and what the goals are to achieve. It's pretty clear what the goals were in Saudi Arabia. Not clear that they achieved really any of them on that trip. Then they sent the president up to Massachusetts, a huge entourage, fuel up the jet, all the limousines and everyone that comes along, for him to just deliver a speech about climate change without the unconstitutional emergency declaration that his left flank wanted, pleasing no one, achieving nothing, with a huge carbon footprint. What was the point of that? I honestly don't know.
And Tammy, we've already seen, the Supreme Court has already ruled in its latest term that the EPA can't just impose all kinds of regulations without specific authority from Congress. The administration just seems to be completely ignoring that and denying that and trying to press ahead.
Right, of course. And you have to hand it to the Democrats because that's what they do. They ignore even their own failures. They ignore the polls. They ignore the American people. They see themselves, and their argument has been constantly, and they see this as an opportunity to try to damage the Supreme Court. And in fact, the polls about the opinion of the Supreme Court have gone down a bit because of the chaos that's surrounding it. So they see this as an opportunity to also strike at the infrastructure because what they see is that their own agenda as being the preeminent dynamic and the Constitution being irrelevant.